Here are 4 subtle signs that often mean a man has been thinking about you and is interested in you. Number 1, if he justifies an act of kindness with that phrase, "I remember when you said," that often means he's been thinking about you. Like Boaz, who did pursue Ruth, but first needed that very clear sign that he should pursue Ruth, oftentimes before he gets that sign, he will be feeling out the woman to see if she's interested in him too. So that means he's going to be thinking of ways to possibly show his interest without coming across too strong. He'll want to do something nice, but he'll also try to downplay it so it doesn't put too much pressure on her because it's an overt sign of romantic interest. And to do that, oftentimes he'll do something nice, an act of kindness, but he'll dampen it down with that phrase, "I remember when," for example, if he gets you a little birthday present, he'll say, "I remember you mentioned it was your birthday today. I was at the store and I saw this, so I thought I'd get it for you." When he justifies this act of kindness by stating how easy it was, he is subtly trying to downplay it and guard against being too open too soon. Number 2, if he references the last time he saw you, that's a great sign he's been thinking about you. In 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 4, Paul says, "As I remember your tears, I long to see you, that I may be filled with joy." Apparently, at their last departure from each other, Timothy was tearful. Paul was showing Timothy that he cared for Timothy by letting him know that Paul was thinking about their last time together. While that verse is obviously about Christian love in general, that principle about thinking of the last time you saw that person can certainly be applied to our topic here when trying to understand if a man has romantic interest in you. For example, if he sees you at church and says, "Hey, I remember last week you mentioned you had a job interview on Friday. How did it go?" The fact that he remembered this is a good sign he's probably been thinking about you. Number 3, if he's happily surprised when he sees you unexpectedly, that's often a sign he's been thinking about you. Sometimes the best way to get an honest read about someone's feelings towards you is to catch them off guard and see them in an unexpected way. Maybe that's why Jesus said, "Therefore you also must be ready, for the Son of Man is coming at an hour you do not expect." Jesus' unexpected return to the world will reveal who has been truly living for him and who has not. In a less important way, but in a similar fashion, sometimes you get a very good read about someone's hidden feelings towards you when you catch them off guard, because then they don't have the time to prepare themselves to be guarded around you. When they know you're going to be there, they can kind of mentally prepare and say, "Don't blow it, don't act too excited." But then when you see them unexpectedly, again, they don't have that time to prepare, and sometimes they let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, and are a little more excited than normal. So for example, if you see a guy from church, and maybe he hasn't been thinking about you, but you see this guy out at the grocery store, for example, and you go up to him, you'll probably have a very normal, casual conversation. "Oh, hey, Amy, small world, how you been?" That's not a bad interaction, but it really doesn't tell you much one way or the other. However, maybe this guy has been thinking about you. You know him from church, that's where you normally see him, and then you see this guy at the grocery store. "Oh my gosh, Amy, what are you doing here? I didn't know you shopped here. What's up? How you been?" His wordy, extra excitement is a subtle sign he's probably been thinking about you and is a bit shocked to suddenly see you standing right in front of him. And number 4, if he takes your recommendation about something, that's a good sign he's been thinking about you. In 2 Timothy 2, 1-6, Paul gives Timothy very practical advice on how to live his life. In verse 7, he then states, "Think over what I say, for the Lord will give you understanding in everything." So how will Paul know if Timothy thought about what he said? Paul will know by seeing Timothy apply these principles to his life. Likewise, it's a sign someone is really thinking about what you said when they actually do what you said. Especially when there's a romantic interest, that person will probably be eager to take that little tip that you give them and show you, "Hey, I value your opinion." So for example, maybe you're talking to a guy at church and you say something like, I think you'd be really good in the youth ministry, with the teenagers. I think those young guys would really look up to you. And then the next week comes by and that guy says, hey, I took your advice and I volunteered for the youth ministry. That would be a really good sign that he's thinking about what you said. Now, I'm not encouraging you to be overly forceful with telling guys what to do. That can get you into a little bit of trouble. But my point is, when you offer those little tips, those little opinions, those friendly little gestures that kind of point someone in the way that you think would be good for them, and then that person actually takes that advice, that's a great sign they're thinking about you. Giving this video a thumbs up really helps this ministry, and it helps this content spread to more people who might benefit from it as well. I'm Mark from ApplyGodsWord.com, and until next time, God bless.